Well, welcome. This is a video that I'm going to do today for you. I'm at home here in my study, and what I really want to do is to go over a good number of the tools that are available to you. I am convinced that the better tools that you have in your work process, the more that you're actually going to be able to redeem the time. I love the tools. I love being able to use them. They help me. They can do a lot of things that I can't do, and they're very if you know how to use them properly, they will save you a great deal of time. During this particular video, I may be moving the camera around a little bit. I'm going to have to get my head out of the way just so you can see the dual screen that I actually have set up here. I've actually tried on my computer to be able to actually have 3 monitors. My computer here is it's a monitor and a computer that's actually combined, and it just does not support having a third monitor here. So what I've done is I went out and I bought a larger monitor. This one right here, it's probably 24 inches, and it's about the same size as this one. I think they're exactly the same size. And so what you're able to do is that you are able to put other programs on that you're working with onto this side of the monitor. Let me actually open up something. I'm going to open up the word search program, and as it begins to open up, it eventually will come up here on this monitor. And just to show you how this works, I've got to let it load here just a minute. Once it finishes loading, I'm going to show you that you can actually move the programs or the information, the Word document that you have that's on your secondary monitor. You can move it back over to your primary monitor at any time. And so if I open this up, I'm just going to do this. This is the way that my word search program is actually set up. You can minimize it. You can minimize it and then just move it over to the other screen. So you may be working on a document and you want to work on it in this monitor, in this screen, and you can just move it over there if you want to. I don't actually do that very often unless I just have to. And then what I have is that I have 2 programs that I use all the time. The other program is called Logos, and I will go through that. And so I'm going to let Logos open up on the screen, and that was the reason that I actually wanted a third monitor, is so I could put word search on one monitor and work on my document on my computer, and then have a third screen that had the Logos program. But since my computer didn't actually support that, I wasn't able to actually put the third monitor on it as I wanted to. You can hook your laptop up. There are a lot of different things that you can do. So you can see right here. Let me get out of the way in just a minute. You can see that the Logos program here is opening up in the part that I had open for it. So what it means is that I can see both my Logos program and I can see the word search program at the same time. Now that's a tremendous benefit. There are other programs. I'm going to show you some here in a little bit. There's some free programs that you can open up just off the internet. Precept Austin, the Blue Letter Bible. They're both very, very good tools that can help you. So you could actually have 4 or 5 different programs running at the same time, and you can put them on either one of these screens that you want to at any time. So I bought this monitor for $100. I got it on sale at Staples, and it was, I think, a $200 screen. It's not the the most expensive monitor that you can buy, but it's a very good monitor. It's got good resolution to it. In fact, let me move this around just a minute here. I'm trying to adjust it just a little bit. There you go. So you can see that I've got the word search program open and I've got the Logos program open. And at any time, what I can do, what I can do is I can hit this little square button at the top of each one of these, and it opens it up into the full screen. And then if I'm finished using it, I can just hit the little double screen that it has, and it minimizes it for me. Or I can open up the word search program and have it there, and then minimize it again and go back. So this is one of those tools that can really help you. You can get your computer set up. It's not going to be that expensive for you to do this. Sometimes, just for your information, based on the computer that you have, based on how old it is, you may have to buy an adapter of some kind. I had to buy an adapter for this to fit my computer. They're not expensive. I think I got mine at Walmart or somewhere for like $12. So it's a very, very good way to set up the programs here for you. And I'll show you in just a minute when we get there. I'm going to go out and open up some internet programs that are available, and I just have them on my computer. When I go down here to Google and I open them up, see if I can find it here. If I go to Google, that's here, I can go to, I've got Precept Austin marked as a favorite. So I can open it and it will come up here in on my main screen, and then I can go and I can open up the Blue Letter Bible. I can open it up as well, and there it is. And I can minimize both of those. I can minimize it if I'm working on an actual Word document somewhere. So what you should do if you want to have both of them open at the same time is that I go here. There's a little box so you can open up another tab, and then I just go and I open up Precept Austin. So I can switch back and forth. If you can see that, I can switch back and forth from the Blue Letter Bible to Precept Austin at any time. So I've literally got, and I can minimize the entire screen if I want to, if I have another document or another program that I want to actually put on there. So what this does is that this allows you to stay at your computer as much as is possible. Right here, that you can't see it, I have all my dictionaries and commentaries that I'm working with when I'm studying. I've got my printer right here, so I'm really set up. I'm really set up to work on, documents at any time. Now, what I want to do first is I want to just go over some of these tools with you. I'll go over the word search and the Logos here in just a minute, but I want to show you. I think that if I could only have access to one program on the internet, it would be Precept Austin. You just type in Precept Austin and it'll open it up, and you can see that it has different headings: home, commentaries. We're in the home. verse by verse, study tools. And when you go to the study tools, it's got Greek word studies, Hebrew word studies, inductive Bible study. And if you know anything about it, inductive Bible study, Kay Arthur is probably pretty well known for having developed her precept ministry, and it's based around inductive Bible study, which is observation, interpretation, and then application. This is a course on how to study the Bible, and that is one of the premier methodologies that you will find in a lot of the different literature. And then there's there are reference guides and places where you can take some area precept classes. I've never done that. I don't really use the Greek Quick Reference Guide, but it's there as a tool. And this is a free site. You can go, for instance, I'm going to try to work with just one verse as we're going through all of this, just so it'd be consistent. I'm going to work with the verse 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, where we got the word sanctify in our last course, and work with it. So what you do is that you just scroll down till you get to 1 Peter, and they may this is a very complete list of different commentaries. You can see they start at 1 Peter chapter 1. I don't know how well you can actually see this on the program, on the video, but you just go to 1 Peter, and then you go and you find the commentary, the verse that you want to study, and then you open it up, and here it begins at 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. So you just scroll down. In fact, I'll go slow. They'll go through word by word. They'll have what different commentators have said about that particular verse, different resources. And what I like about it is that they have word studies, and the word studies are very good. They're very, very good. You're not going to get into too much trouble, because one of the things that Precept Austin does is that it uses a lot of different authors and different study tools, and that makes it I think you'll find that there's a good cross-section of scholarship and academic integrity built into this particular program. It's not a program. It gets updated fairly frequently. There's a tremendous amount of information on here. I'm going to scroll down until there's 1 Peter 3:14. And you can see that he gives you what it's like in the Greek. And then he's got Amplified, King James, New Living Translation, Phillips Wuest, and Young's Literal. He gives them to you as translations. So let's say, for instance, you purchased the Word Search program, and you bought the $100 program that Lifeway, or that Word Search provides for us, for our students. But you only have, say, the King James, the ESV, and maybe one other translation. This is going to give you some other translations that you may not have, that you don't necessarily have to purchase. I would like to have them on my Word Search program or over on my Logos program, because if I'm working in it, I'm going to be working in it a good bit. But if you don't, and it's going to be a while before you're going to be able to add those translations to it, what you have here is that you have multiple translations that you can look at. So you scroll down, and there'll be commentaries on this word. There's J. Vernon McGee, John MacArthur, J.H. Jowett. You'll come to another word, and so here it says Puritan Thomas Watson, or Jack Arnold writes, so you just keep scrolling scrolling down. So when we finally get to, I may have passed it. You just scroll down till you get, here it is, 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15. And so what we're going to study is that we're going to look at the word sanctify. You can see that they have identified that here I say you can see. I'm talking and hopefully helping you to work through this a little bit. In fact, let me just kind of move the screen in just a little bit. That may help. I mean the camera in a little bit. And so here it is, and their first word that they're going to really study, they've got the word but. I think the little tiny words are very important, the conjunctions. And then it starts off with the word sanctify. And if you went, if you scroll through here, you're going to see that they're going to give you a very solid definition of that particular word. And here it's got the Strong's number related to it. Normally, if you click on that number, it's going to take you to an internet site with another resource. So I generally don't actually click on those numbers. I've got the dictionary over here. I've got the hard copy, so I can go and look at it if I want to. But you can see that it's got a whole list of information about that word. And then it has some practical things. For instance, how do we sanctify Christ as Lord in our hearts? And so it gives you that particular information. So that's a verse by verse. However, if you wanted just to look at commentaries, you could go and you could click on the heading up here, commentaries. It will take you to the commentaries by book, and you can. It has a whole list of commentaries on a particular verse. So here, if we click this, it's going to take us back to basically where we were previously. But there are just an immense number of commentaries. You can migrate through this site and find each one of those individual commentaries, not just as it relates to this particular verse. I think, for instance, John MacArthur's commentary, that a lot of times it will take you to the Grace to You site, so that you can actually see what he's written on it, some of his messages and sermons. But let's take over here, it's got study tools, and what we want to do is that we want to look at the Greek word studies. So we click on the Greek word studies, and then we're going to look up the word sanctify, so it gives us alphabet, and we click on S, and then we click on sanctify, which is hagiazo, and then we just click on that word. So what it's going to do is that it's going to take you to another place in the New Testament where that word sanctify is actually used. Here it's in, I missed where it was, it's in 1 Thessalonians. And so it's going to give you another definition of the word sanctify. In other words, what the guy that develops all this information has done is that he's taken you to the place in all of his material where he thinks that the word sanctify is the best where there's the best information and commentaries on that particular word. So it's certainly not the only place that you can go. You can go out to and find out all the different places. You can go and word search and find out all the different verses that word is used, and then you can type that in here under verse by verse, and so you can go and get multiple commentaries on different verses on the word sanctify. So you can see he's got a little bit more information here. He's got just the initial definition of it from Strong's. It says it's in the aorist tense. It gives you a little bit of information about that. Hebert comments on it. Dr. Wiest, which I love Dr. Wiest. He's very, very good, very practical. Then you have Dr. Vine. I have Richards. And then it goes into some of the Greek information about hagiazo, how it's used for positional sanctification or for progressive sanctification. or the perfecting sanctification. So there's just a lot of information here. It'd be foolish not to be able to utilize this. And for those of you that don't have a lot of actual commentaries, tools, this is the best tool that you can have. I could not, I mean, this is just a wealth of information. I have to say that because of the way that I study, I generally don't open up Precept Austin until I've exhausted everything that I've got here in my library. But I love it. I love to go back to it. You know, a lot of the things that are on Precept Austin, say Vines or Strong's or Zodiates or somebody, Dr. Wiest, I've already researched them. I've already gone through their books. But this is a good place to consolidate it. I like laboring through the Word. I like doing the hard study, the hard copy type study myself, rather than just having somebody do it for me, and then I got to go. You know, I can just copy it. You can take any of this stuff and you can just highlight it, and you can copy it right into your information. You can copy it right into your text. But I know that just from years of experience that there are a lot of students that don't have a good library of commentaries and tools. And so you can use, like if you have to write an essay, you can use this as a resource. And if you go to the commentaries and you open up those commentaries, then you can, in other words, if you went back to home and he gives you a list of all these commentaries, and you go out and you find a commentary that you like, you can use that as a resource, as a separate resource in your study. So this is a very good tool. It has a wealth of information, and I want to really encourage you to get used to using it. It's free, so you don't have to pay any money for it. The second tool that you might want to download is, you don't download it, it's just, you just open it up. I've bookmarked it in mine so that I can open it up at any time. But let's just say that what we want to do is I work out of the New King James, so right here, and I don't know if you can see that, but it just says search the Bible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the New King James. I'm going to type in the word sanctify, S-A-N-C-T-I-F-Y, and I'm going to limit the search on that word. If I just typed in that word, it's going to give me every place that word is used in the Old Testament and the New Testament. But I'm just going to limit it. It's an advanced search here, and all this information is right here. It has it in two places. I've never kind of understood that, but so you can go to a predefined list. It's got the whole Bible, the New Testament. So that's all you have to click on. Or if you wanted to give it just a book, you know, over here it would have the books of the Bible, and if you just wanted to look in 1 Peter, you could do that. But we're going to look in the entire New Testament and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell it right here in the little arrow to go and to look up all the places that word is used. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the New King James Version. If you were studying out of the ESV, it may be 7, maybe 5. It varies with the different translations that you have. But you can see that it's got, this is the primary, and then it's got dictionaries. So it will load up for you the King James Dictionary or Vine's Dictionary or Hitchcock's Topical Analysis. We're just going to hit Vine's and click on the word sanctify. And so you can see Vine's Dictionary brings in the word sanctification and sanctify. and gives you a lot of information on that particular word. So so you've got a dictionary right there. So after you finish doing that, you can return back to the main search page. Whoops, I'm sorry. I went to the wrong place. I'll just get back to where I was. I'm going to ask it to go back to where we were. So we were at the dictionaries, and then you can go to a lexicon. And the lexicon gives you a little bit of, this is the Old Testament Hebrew word kadosh, and this is the New Testament word for it. And so you can, and then it has a whole nother section on different facts about the word sanctify. So there's 14 other documents. Now, what's good about that is that you may find something in one of those documents if you're writing an essay, and you can use that document as one of your resources. And so you're just building up your ability to have really, really good resources. I wanted to see if I can find one other thing for you here. I'm gonna type in the word sanctify up here. What I'm looking for is where they actually parse the word for you. I can't locate it right now. Here it is. So this is the Greek word hagiazo, and it has how it's transliterated, and it
Strong's G37 hagiazo.
So to tell you how to pronounce it, tell you what it is, gives you a little bit more an outline of biblical usage, Strong's definition, gives you all these different places. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to 1 Peter, if I can find it, 3:15, and beside that verse it has a little icon called Tools, and so you click on Tools, and it has interlinear, Bibles, cross-references, commentaries, dictionaries, and miscellaneous. So you can go to the interlinear, and what it does is, here's the word, but sanctify. So it's got all the Greek words. It's got the Greek text up here, which you probably can't read. I can't read it. But here's the word hagiazo, sanctify, and so you click on this little thing that says parse, and it parses it for you right here in the side. It says it's in the aorist tense, the active voice, the imperative mood. And it says the aorist active imperative form occurs 375 times in the New Testament. So it gives you this. You can put this on your phone. You can put the Blue Letter Bible. I know some of the students in my class at the local extension use the Blue Letter Bible, and they'll open it up during class. That's the only thing I want them to use a phone for in the class. But so it's got how it's actually parsed. Well, you can click on the aorist tense, and it will give you a definition of the aorist tense. The aorist tense is characterized by its emphasis on punctiliar motion or action, so it gives you an entire definition of that, and you can see that there's a lot of information on that one tense. So if you don't have a Greek grammar, if you don't have basics of the Greek, any books on that, you've got it right here. You can click on the active voice, and it will tell you what the active voice means, or the imperative mood, and it will tell you what the imperative mood means. Now, I want to say to you, just as your professor, that these are the kind of things that are imperative that you know if you're going to be teaching a passage properly. You've got to know what that verb is composed of, or what its tense is, what its voice is, what its mood is. All those things are critically important to understanding the proper use of a word. So you can click on Bibles, and here it's got, I don't know how many it's got. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different translations. Whereas the other program may not have had as much. Here you've got 16 different translations, and then it's got cross-references. And so you can look up the word sanctify, and it will give you other verses where you may want to go look and see what it actually means. Then it has commentaries. Now this is incredible. You put this on your phone. It's got commentaries. Chuck Missler, J. Vernon McGee, Walter Martin. It's got Jameson, Fawcett and Brown, Matthew Henry, David Guzik, David Hocking. They've got study tools here. All of this is on this verse. And then you can go to the dictionaries, and you can see all of the different dictionaries that it's got here. It's got encyclopedias, the dictionaries. It's got Nave's Topical Bible, Torrey's Topical Bible, Smith's Bible Dictionary. Now those are not going to be like Vine's or Zodiates or something, but they're still there as a tool for you. So, and then lastly, it has miscellaneous stuff, and these are other sites. These are pictures. They're maps and images that for some reason, if you were doing a Bible study and you wanted to put it on a PowerPoint or something, you could copy that and it would have some information. So between the Blue Letter Bible and Precept Austin, if you didn't have anything, if you didn't have a word search program, if you don't have Logos, I bought the Gold Logos program. It's very, very powerful. I don't even know how to use it really, as well as I do word search, because I've had word search for nearly 12 years, and I've been using it and upgrading it, for a long time. So I'm very comfortable with it. And the Logos program, I never bought it because it was much more expensive initially. But they have different programs. They have the silver, the gold, the bronze, the silver, the gold, the platinum, whatever it is. You can buy a program from anywhere from $300 to $5,000. And if you are a student, or if you are a pastor, if you are involved in some kind of academic, spiritual work, then you can get 40% off on that particular program. So the program that I bought for the gold was like $1,600, but I only paid $930 for it. Now I know that's a crazy number, but if you had just a couple to $300, you could go and buy the bronze or the silver. Now they're not going to have as many resources, but in my mind, one of the benefits of utilizing a lesser cost program is that it gives you a chance to learn how to use it before you spend a lot of money on it. Just to make sure that you're going to be able, to use it effectively. I wouldn't go out and just spend $930 on something if I didn't know how to use it. I have a bunch of students in Romania that use it. I say a bunch. I have a couple that use it, and they're very good at it. And they got me interested in it a number of years ago. Dr. Brett Sullivan, Dr. Eddie Ildefonso, they both use it and they like it. And they've had it for a long time. Eddie's probably had every tool out there that you can have because he studies so much. And but Brett says that he actually prefers the Logos program over word search. I'm so much more familiar with word search that I prefer word search over Logos. But they both are still going to give me the same kind of information. The difference with Logos is that it has resources on this program that I don't have on my word search program, even though I have probably 700 to 800 books and items and resources on it. So right here, what we've done is that we actually have 4 different tools that are available to you. 2 of them are free. One of them is $100. It's not going to, over the years you're going to need to keep upgrading it. But what happens is that when you call, if you'll tell them that you're with Covington and that I'm your professor, the guy that runs that, his name is Fernando Anderson, and he will give you probably the best discount that he can, and then he's going to add on to your library free books that you're not asking for. He's just going to say, well, I'm going to give you some other books. You may or may not ever use those books. They may be devotional, they may be a commentary that you probably wouldn't use, but they're still resources that you're going to keep getting for free the more that you purchase. I like the hardback books. I mean, I have a library, just a big library, because I like to go open it up and read it and underline it so that I can keep it and come back to it fairly easily. But in all of these programs, you can do the same thing. You can take the word search program and you can highlight, if let's say for instance you're reading a commentary, you can highlight that commentary and it will stay there until you delete the highlight. And so it'd be no different than taking a yellow highlighter and highlighting your commentary. Now what I want to do, and I'm going to move this just a little bit. Whoops, daisy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a document here. I'm just going to go out to my word search program, my word program, and I'm going to open up a study that I'm currently doing. Let me find one. Let me do it a different way. I'm going to go, let me minimize those. I'm going to go to 1 Peter that I'm working on, and I'm going to open up one of my weekly messages. I'm going to open up one that I just finished teaching, and this is what the program looks like. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Now, what I want to do is I want to encourage you that the word program does a lot for you. And you've got to learn how to use it. I'll be glad to help you. I have a program down here. It's called TeamViewer. I can click on TeamViewer, and when it comes up, it allows me to connect to your computer, so that I can get on your computer with you, open up your program, or you can open it up. I mean, you see everything that I'm doing, and I can walk you through this and help you to learn how to use the Word program. Now, in my estimation, the average student doesn't know how to use Word, Microsoft Word. that's not an insult to anybody. It's sort of a learning curve that you've got to work at. But there are things that it does for you. It has. I have a template. It is a template, and the way that this template was developed, actually Dr. Ildefonso developed it, and we both he and I write for his theological journal called the Talmud, which is goes out every month to about 12,000 pastors. And so when Eddie asked me to help him with that program, I mean with writing for the Talmud, he already had a kind of a format that he uses. He put, for instance, whenever he has a reference, he puts it in bold blue letters. It's he underlines it, and then when he has a scripture reference, it was in bold text and indented. And so we just worked on this together, and I just figured out what he was doing so that I could duplicate it, and I liked it, and I could copy it, so that when they put the Talmud articles together that we write, they're not articles, it's a journal, that everything is the same. All the text is the same. It's in Times New Romans. It's 12, and so. But you can see up here that I have. I'm just going to click on this paragraph, which is actually a verse. It's actually a verse, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this one here, and you see how it changes. This is a style. So I have a style. I can go here to the next one, and it's emboldened. I can go here, and everything's underlined. I can go here, and it's the reference. I can go there, and that's the verse. I can underline it and it not be bold, and then I can italicize it and it be indented. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different styles in there. Now I'm going to show you what happens. All right, here's what happens when you open up a document. I'm going to close that, and I'm just going to let me back up. Let me do it this way. I'm going to open a new document. Right here, a new document. And so when that document comes in, up here it's got all of these different styles. Well, I'm going to click over here because that's not all of them. They've got another one there, and so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's got 16 different styles. So if I'm typing something, let's just say I type something in, it's going to come in its normal font, which is Calibri 11, but I can change it to a different style, to, in anything. So you have all these styles that are already kind of created for you. Now you don't want to use them. What you want to do is to create a template. Here's what you want to do. You want to, if I say it this way, you want to get rid of everything, and you want to create your own template that has your own styles, so that when you're typing something, in a document, that all you have to do is to click on your style, and it will be exactly what you want it to be. It'd be a paragraph. You can make it a paragraph that's indented. I don't indent my paragraphs. You can see here it's not indented, but you can come up here and work with say right here, about the indentation. I could tell it to indent on the left side and tell it to indent a 1/2 inch. And you know, you can do this right here. See, and it would do that for you. It's got all kinds of things that it will do for you. The spacing before, the spacing after, the line spacing. I use 1.15. You could use 1.5. You could use 2. You know, it's just whatever you want it to be. But every document that I work on has these 6. I don't have to create them. All I do is just open up a document. I delete everything and that I'm working on, and those styles still remain there in the document. So I don't, you know, when I put in a verse or if I put in a reference, I don't have to keep thinking about, well, you know, you got to go up here to home, you got to go to the font, then you got to go to the size, and then you got to go to the color that you're using, and then you got to determine if it's justified or not justified or whatever it may be. And so it makes all of that easy for you, and I'll be glad to help you. You can call me, and we'll get on the phone, and I'll get on your computer. I think that I have right here, I can find it, I have what I call an essay template. And this is a template that I gave to one of my students, Larry Kuhn, and I set up this template for him right here. And you can see that I've got these different paragraph A, B, this and that. I've got if I clicked on this paragraph and I went to this, everything's going to turn dark and indent because that's the scripture. So you wouldn't use that there. But if you wanted to underline the whole thing, you can do it. Or if you just want to underline a part of it, you hit that. Or if you want to bold it and underline it, it does it for you. And you just click it and there it is. So you don't have to think about it. It's set up. It's a template. So I sent this to Larry. This is and then at the end it has the end notes and the bibliography and everything that I want to show you about using. So this is just a template. I can send you a template, and if you will figure out that you can use all these up here, then when you start to do an essay, it's got your name here. It's already got the name. All you've got to do is come in and change it to be your name. You double click on it and just write in Fleetwood or whatever your name is, and then it's got all you got to do is change the course, change the date, change the professor if it's a different professor. Say it was Dr. Ildefonso or Bob Craven or somebody, or Dr. Sullivan, and then everything is set up for you. So there's no need for you to keep reinventing the wheel every time that you write. Now you're going to be doing a lot more than just taking courses. You're developing messages every week, and you ought to be, as much as possible, putting those in the same format, in a good format, one that you trust, one that you like. You don't have to like my font. I like the Times New Romans. We do all the technical stuff in that. I think you will find that traditionally that's what most of the good handbooks are going to recommend that you use. So the Times New Roman. So you can see here that he's got a different spacing than I do. His spacing is double. And that's what you need to write it in. And the reason that you need to write your documents for school in double is so that those of us that have to grade them can make comments if we want to. Normally when I review a document, when I review it, I make comments on it with this right here, and that comment shows up on the side of your document, and I send that to you electronically. But so then the other thing that's important, and I'm going to go back to my document, is that under references, and I prefer that you use Turabian. You can use, if you click on references, it has a little bar here that says, a little icon that says style. And if you hit that little arrow, it opens up APA, Chicago, it gets 8 or 9 different styles. MLA, it has MLA down here for you. Turabian, and normally people use APA, Turabian, or MLA. And I like Turabian. You don't have to use Turabian, but I like it because I don't like in MLA how when you're reading it, and let's say for instance you're quoting John MacArthur, then you put his whole name, and then you put the page number. That's a little. I like just to read it, and I see that you've got it documented, and you know it might have a little number like in mine. I can't remember. This may have been one of the. You can see when I get to the end that I didn't have any. In fact, let me open up a different one. Let me open up one that's got references to it. So I had 3 references. The Complete Biblical Library. John MacArthur wrote a book called Biblical Doctrine, and then Zodhiates' dictionary in this particular document. Well, when you go to references, let's just say, for instance, I'm going to just say that at the end of this paragraph, I want to put in a reference right here. I go to references, and I tell it to insert an endnote. So it's going to put a number there, and I don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to go down here. So this is just a little quirk in the program. The bibliography is the last thing that you can put in. But if I click that number, it's going to put the next sequential number in for, let's just say for instance it was number 5, it would show up as 5. If it was 3, it would be inserted between 2 and 3 now, and what's 3 now would become 4. So it does it automatically for you. And so all you have to do is just hit reference, insert endnote, and there it is. Then it has what it will do is that it has a place where you can manage all the books and references that you use. So you can see over here, I'm going to kind of scroll through this. I don't know how many of these books. Every time you put a book in here, these are just books I've used over a period of time. They just remain in my library in what they call the master list. So let's say, for instance, you're writing an essay, and you use Vine's dictionary, or you use a John MacArthur commentary. Once you can create a new one, all right? So I could put in the author, the title of it, the year. It could be a book, a report, a periodical, a website like Precept Austin or the Blue Letter Bible, an electronic source. It could be an interview. And if I click on interview, then all of this information kind of changes. And all I have to do, a journal, all I have to do is just, it's a bibliography for dummies, right? All you have to do is just put the information into blank. It asks you for that information. And you can, and this is the minimum that it wants you to give it, and then you can ask for more. I always show all bibliography fields. I don't use them all, but you can see that there's a lot more things that you can, I say you can see it, but there's a lot more, there's a lot more items that you can, that you can put down. Editors, So it just does all the work for you. You don't have to do it. But once you create that book, it goes into your, I'm going to cancel this, it goes into your master list here. And so all you have to do, let's say I got Daniel Aiken, the New American Commentary, I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to ask it to copy that book over into my list. And it just copies it over there. So once you make out that bibliography, you only have to do it one time forever. You don't ever have to do it again. And it's right, so that when you insert it into your document, when you finally tell this program to insert the bibliography, it does it, and it's actually correct. I'm going to delete that. And so at the end, once you've got your authors, you go to bibliography, and it says down here, insert bibliography. So what it will do is that it will insert all of these that are in the current list that you have. So it makes it really easy. Now once again, I'll be glad to show you how to do that. I'll be glad to just get online with you, help you, so that you don't have to keep straining. If there's any one area where I know that that my students struggle, it's how they present the information that they write down in an essay. It's like nobody, it seems like, I say nobody, but it seems like doing a bibliography is like the most laborious thing, and it's amazing how many different, if I were to ask you to follow the MLA handbook, you'd have trouble finding where your particular kind of book is in it. But with Word, you don't have to, because it does everything for you. So there's really not any excuse for not getting it right. You know, we keep saying over and over in the course that the ministry demands excellence. Why should it not be? I mean, we're doing this. We represent Christ. We represent God the Father. So we ought to be able. We have the resources. These resources aren't expensive. If you can't afford it, we'll figure out a way to get you one. But it just does it for you. And once you learn how to use it, you'll never do anything else. It will always be there for you to to help you. So you've got to learn how to use the program. You've got to learn how to to do it. If you have questions, just call me. We'll get on our little program down here called Team Viewer. It'll come up. I'll connect to you. And this program is free. I'll talk to you on the phone, and we'll open your document, and we'll take you through this. If you want me to send you a essay template that's already got all this built in, I'll be glad to do that for you. Just send me a text or send me an email, and I will be more than happy to actually do that for you. Now, what I want to do, and I'm going to just move it over here, I want to go over a little bit with the word search program. I have told you over and over again that when I study, I study. In fact, when I open this up, you can see here that it opened up to the interlinear. I use the New King James, so I'm going to go. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4. But when it opens up to that in the interlinear. I have another interlinear, which I like, which is the Complete Biblical Library, and then I have the ESV. Now, the reason I have the ESV here, I could have multiple other translations, but I use the the ESV, because I write for an organization called God Life, and I develop devotionals, and they want those done in the ESV. So what you ought to do is that you ought to have the Bible that you're going to utilize. And I would encourage you to use a standard equivalent translation. That would be the King James, New King James, the New American Standard Bible, or the ESV would be those four. And I wouldn't really use the King James to actually. I would use the New King James just because it's a little bit easier to read. But I'm not trying to tell you which one to read. That's just a preference on my part. But in each one of these boxes, you see I have them opened up into 4 boxes. This is my interlinear box. This is the box that has all of the dictionaries in it. So, this is a word, lupe, and I'm not where it comes from, but it must have been open in, it's just on a word that I was looking up. And this is the parallel Bible. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 translations open. I have more translations in my, if I went over here to my resources and I went to Bibles, I have, you can see all the different Bibles that I have. It's more than 16. So, and then I have commentaries that are down here. I probably have 12 or so open. And so I've got the dictionaries, I've got commentaries, I've got parallel Bible, and I've got the interlinear. Now you can open up, you can hit the square box up here, the little icon, and it opens up that, so that's the only thing that you're working in. I'm just going back and forth through it. So you can see in the interlinear that it's going to parse the verb for you. This is, you just hit it, you just put your, move your cursor over it. You can click on it and it will open this up for you. But it's a verb that's in the indicative mood. It's in the present tense. It's in the active voice. Here's another verb. It's in the indicative mood, present tense, the middle or passive deponent voice. You can go, here's another one, another verb. And these verbs are very important. Some of them are going to be in different forms. We'll talk about that in the course. And that's important to recognize the different form that the word is actually in. This is a participle, okay? You know that a participle is generally going to end in ing. So it's a verb that's used a certain way. So this is a present tense participle, which is different than just a regular verb like this one here. So, and then there are other verbs that are in different forms. The infinitive, I don't think this is an infinitive. But the infinitive, I think, is a VI as well, and it generally starts with the word to, like to labor or to strive. So you've got to learn how to study out of the Greek text. You just have to learn how to study out of the Greek text. It's just absolutely critical. It's vital. You cannot properly handle the scriptures. You cannot rightly divide them if you don't understand this information. I've said it over and over in the 2 courses now. The Bible's not written in English. It's written in Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic, and so you've got to understand how or what those words mean, whether it's a noun or a verb or an adverb or whatever it is. Here's a word that's just a conjunction, and it's a subordinating conjunction. Well, they have different kinds of conjunctions. So you have to learn how to use that. So I'm going to go back. Then this is the different. These are the different parallel Bible translations. I have some down here that I use. The Message Bible is not a Bible. it's just a paraphrase. I wouldn't ever, the Emergent Church, I've shared that with you, they use the Message Bible, but it's a paraphrase. It's almost like a kind of a commentary, if I can say it that way, a commentary that utilizes, it's not an academic work. You can't trust it, and it's going to evaporate out critical words and their meaning to be cultural, to become culturally relevant. Well, they become biblically irrelevant at some point in time. There are other translations here. I like the Young's Literal Translation, but you can see I've got King James, New King James, New American Standard, ESV, and the Amplified, and those are basically what would be considered to be standard equivalents and not dynamic equivalents. The dynamic equivalent would be the NIV. All right, that's a good translation, but the words in the NIV are not going to correspond to the words in the interlinear. The words that you find in the interlinear are going to be more words that come from the standard equivalent translations. So you got to be aware of that kind of stuff, and I'm going to talk about that some later on in this particular course. Then I have these commentaries. I don't really use these too much. You can see I'm studying in Galatians, so this is a commentary on Galatians. There's one on Galatians, there's one on Galatians, there's one on Galatians. And I will, if I stop studying Galatians, when I finish Galatians, I will just take those off of here. And these others are just the ones that I have. I love the Complete Biblical Library commentary. It's not in-depth, really in-depth, but I just like that whole set of material that they actually provide. So you've got to learn how to use these tools, and there's so much that this program will do for you. It will do an instant verse study for you, where you come out here, you tell it what kind of Bible you want it to use, and then you tell it to go out on 1 Timothy chapter 4. Let's just do this. I think I've done this in class, and we're going to use the New King James Version. And I'm going to ask it to copy this to a text. And so it went out. I can open up the word processor or any kind of document. It could be a Word document I already have open. And then I'm just going to paste all that stuff in. And you can see that it went out, and it's just page after page after page on 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 10. Of all the commentaries that I ask it to go search. Now, I don't know if, I could have had others open and it would be a lot more information. So, once again, let's say, for instance, that you don't have a lot of resources. Well, now you have the Preacher Commentary as a resource. You have Matthew Poole's commentary as a resource. You have Matthew Henry as a resource. You have the Life Application New Testament commentary. You have a commentary on the Epistle to the Romans. You have a Bible knowledge. You just have commentary after commentary. So, and you can use each one of those, Barnes Notes, you can use that as a separate resource in your essay, in your bibliography. So you can go out and look up any verse, and it's got all this information for you. It's an instant verse study. Now, I don't ever use the instant verse study. Why? Because I want to do the study. I don't want somebody else to do the study for me. I wouldn't want you to become dependent on the instant verse study, because it simply does all the work. It does a lot of the work for you, but you're not going to have any real insight into what it is that you're studying if you just let the computer do all the work for you. You just become a stenographer, basically. And so I don't ever, I may go back and do it every once in a while, but it's very rare that I ever use the instant verse study. But if you don't have good resources, it's a great resource for you. And I know that some of you just don't have much in your library. You know, you may just be starting school. You may be just haven't had the money to be able to purchase these things. So if you do the instant verse study, it just asks you, well, where do you want me to look? And you say, well, okay, go look in this commentary and that commentary and use this version of the Bible, and that's what it will do for you. So it's a really, really, really great resource that that you can have. And you can just copy it into your Word document. I mean, you can just make a separate Word document or put it on the processor that's here on this. And so this is a wonderful tool. You can see on my library, I have no idea how many books I have, but I'm just scrolling through this very fast. I counted them up one time. I think I have 700 or 800 books. I don't know. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And these are what, you know, I'd call, I'd ask for something, and you know, a lot of times I would say maybe I wanted to get Weiss Word Studies, and I'd buy that, and he'd give me 6 other books. And over a period of time, it's just, and then you can click on any one of these, and it will give you like maps and atlases or outlines or study notes or theology. You know, so it just gives you a lot of really wonderful information. All right, I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to take it back over here. Just going to dock it there, and then I'm going to bring over the Logos program just so you can see it better. Now, Logos is an incredibly powerful program. It has if I just scroll through this, it has these different organizations that it works with called Bible Study, Faith Life, Proclaim, Sound Faith, others. But it has all kinds of interesting just information that you can, you have to be, you don't have to be connected to the internet to use all this, but you do have to be connected to the internet to use the updated information that it has. Some of this stuff you would probably never use, but it's still just a wealth of information that's there. Now, what I want to show you, and I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail on this, but I am going to I'm going to open up. You can see that it has in here something called layouts. And they have all different kinds of layouts for a Greek word study, a passage study, whatever. But I created my own layout. I call it Gary 1 because I may go back and do another one. And so, and then it has what's known as guides. And the guides have just a wealth of information. So you can see I'm studying out of Galatians chapter 4. So it has a passage guide, an exegetical guide, a Bible word study, a sermon starter guide. I would never use that. Trust me, I probably will never open it. A topic guide. And these guides are every one of them are different. So I've opened up the passage guide. And it's thinking. I say it's thinking. Let me go to the exegetical guide. There it goes. So it's going to open up. I mean, it's going to open up a wealth of information about this thing. It just got Galatians 4, 1 through 7, commentaries that it actually provides for you. There are all the different commentaries that I have on it. Word studies, Galatians, it would be with the TNTC commentary. More, it's got more here. I mean, it's just a wealth of information at your fingertips. It's got all kinds of stuff, my content, cross references on this particular verse. So these would be verses. I think this came out of the Treasury Scripture Knowledge, and it will open up other passages in the New King James. I'm just going to do that. It will open them up where there's something that's related to to the verse that you were actually studying. So I'm gonna go back, and you can see that up here I've got the guide set up here. It's got to think. It's got to bring it up. It's a big program, and it has such information in it that it just takes time sometimes to bring it up. But you can see all the different things. Now, I would think that you're not going to use all this. I can't. It's an information overload. Then if you do an exegetical guide, now this is where I'm going to study, because I'm going to have it open at my exegetical guide, because it's going to go to a verse, and this is the Greek here, and it's in the New King James. And then it has it in English over here, so you can click on any word like air, and it'll bring up that particular word for you. Here it is down here. It's clearnomus. And then if you want to just see some of the other information that it's got, it kind of parses it for you. It's not, let's see if I can find a verb. Where's a verb? Here's a verb. Present tense, active voice. This lego means to say or tell. Indicative, first person, whatever. So you can click on any of this, like active, and it will tell you, it will give you a definition of what that is. The grammatical voice that signifies that the subject is performing the action. So, or you can just click on it. I mean, just put, and it gives you that same information. So if I'm looking at that verb, it has, this is a particular resource, another resource, another resource, another resource, another resource. It's all very technical, and it will just work you through that. So then you have another one that's called Bible Word Study, and this takes that word that we were looking at, lupo, and it will tell you all the different places that it's used in the Septuagint. And these are all the places that this word is used in the New Testament. So, and to be sad, to sadden, to be saddened, and it tells you how many, it'll tell you how many times it's used. It's 19 out of 26, 6 of 26, 1 of 26. It gives you how that word is used in different how it's maybe translated in different in other different ways. It's translated grieve, sorry, made sorry, sorrowful. So this has so much information to it that it's just, I would never encourage you to buy the whole thing. I would start out small. It's got these workbooks, theological workbooks that I've got set up. It's got a Bible sense lexicon in it, which is really what it does is it takes other ways that the word is used and shows how it kind of is developed to get to what it means in your text. It has, let's That's the exegetical guide, the passage guide. And I'm going to delete that one. Close this tab. So you can have this stuff open. You can have a Bible open. It just has so many. It has all kinds of documents and different tools. These are the different tools that it has. You have it takes you a while. This program is so it has so much information in it that you have to learn how to use it. And so I'm not trying to talk you into getting it or not to get it. I'm just trying to tell you that if you get it, you have to, no matter which one of the tools it is, that you have to you have to learn how to use the tools. The Logos has everything basically that the word search has, but I think it's a little bit more. I think word search is a little more user friendly, and that will change if you the more you use the program. I have a Romanian student that uses Logos exclusively, and he is so good with that program. He's kind of a teacher for me to help me know how to actually use the resource. So he's a valuable resource for me. Now I want to show you one other tool, and I'm going to open it. And it's a tool that's called, I'm going to close these others out. Alright, I'm just going to close them out. And I'm going to close out all of this. And I'm just going to open up a document. Alright, it's not in any kind of format. It's just a document. And I have this tool. I'm going to open it up down here at the bottom. It's called Dragon Naturally Speaking. And what Dragon Naturally Speaking is that it's a program that where it's a voice activated typing. So whenever you're studying, based on how you study and what you study, you get a microphone. Not a microphone. Microphone, all right. And I just I bought a set of these that's got a microphone on it, just like if you were an operator. And I just put it around my neck. I don't put the earphones on. And I put it so it's kind of close to my mouth. And once I turn this on, I can begin to speak. Let me get a document here, and I will see if I can find a document for you. This is a message that I did in 1 Peter just recently. So what happens is that this program, it memorizes your voice. It memorizes your inflection. In fact, when you set it up, it asks you what part of the country you live in. You know, do you live in the south part or the north, or are you a northerner? Do you live in California? It wants to, because, you know, we all have accents, but over a period of time, it learns how you talk. And what it does is that each time that you work on a document, when you finally close this program out, it updates your document. It goes out and it looks at all the new words that you used. It looks at all the nuances in how you said something, and it memorizes that. So that it kind of picks up how you talk, how the pattern of your speech, and it has to learn your voice. It doesn't take long. In fact, what you do, I gave it 80 documents to look at, and it went through 80 documents and and took account of all of the words that were in those 80 documents. I gave it a whole Bible study series, and it went out and put all of those words in its memory bank. So the more you use it, the better it gets, because it's constantly learning the language that you're actually speaking. So what I want to do is, I just have a document here on a study that I was doing in 1 Peter, and I want you to watch and to see how it actually types it in. I gotta cut it on here. What we want to do in this portion of our study what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge this font and make it very big so that you can watch it as it types along with me. Okay? I think you may be able to see that a little better. And I want to say that you have to sort of learn the speed. There are words that sound the same, like there, T-H-E-R-E or T-H-E-I-R. Now, it's smart enough that it will most of the time put in the correct use of that word. But there are other words that are sound alike but may not be spelled alike, and so you have to you have to go through and to check over it to make sure that the spelling is correct. It will make mistakes, but it will not make a lot of mistakes once you learn the pace that you have to talk at. So let's say, for instance, that you're just thinking out loud. I do this all the time when I'm studying, and this thing will type so fast that it will almost keep up with my normal voice speed. However, I've made it. I try not to talk as fast as I normally do, so that I can be more clear and that I can accentuate the different letters that the different words that I'm actually speaking. I think when I use this that it actually helps me in the pulpit, because I have a tendency sometimes when I'm teaching or just at church to use idioms and just to say things like y'all and sometimes I'll leave off the T at the end of a word, like pulpit. I might just say pulpit, and it just not come out clear. And this kind of forces you to talk a little more plainly when you're doing it. So I'm going to just pick up where I left off here. Is to provide some very practical insight and understanding in how we actually go about giving praise, comma, glory, comma, and honor to God in our life. Period. Ultimately, comma, that should be the goal for how we live. Period. So, comma, what I want to do in our study is to simply look at various verses throughout the New Testament that speak of actually glorifying God, and see if we can glean from those passages how quotation marks quote I'm giving it the wrong command for putting quotation marks around it. It has a whole list of commands that are in the tools. There's a command browser, and you like comma, period, quotation mark. I'm going to do this here. Quotation mark. Whoops. Quotation mark. So I have forgotten that command, but you just go learn it. You go learn it. It's easy. You click on the tools. You go to the command browser, and it will tell you. You can type it in up here, filter it out, and it will help you to know how to do it. So I'll wait on that, but it will do all of that for you. It will bolden words. It will do, whatever you want it to do. We as believers should be glorifying God in our life. Period. So you can see how it keeps up with me. I don't think that it made any mistakes. It will make mistakes, but it will not make a lot of them. And most of them is when there's a duplication of a word, but the words are spelled differently, and it doesn't know which one to choose. So this is a great. I'm gonna get rid of this. This is a great tool because it helps you. Like it's asking me, does it want to save my user profile? And I normally say yes, and then it goes out and it saves everything. All the new words that I've used and the nuances in how I've actually communicated something. So I hope this has been helpful to you. My goal as your professor is to help you get better at what you do. And I think having the right tools in your toolbox are going to make you a better student, because they're going to save you time. If I figured out that when I use this voice activated system, that I can literally I can put the information down twice as fast as if I was teaching. Sometimes, if I don't have a lot of verses to add into a section, it may be 3 times as fast as I can actually type. So if I'm putting together 2 or 3 messages a week and then working on a course, like I'm working on several courses at one time, this tool allows me to just save time. Just save time. I couldn't ask for a better tool to do what I say here, where it says redeem the time. And so I want to encourage you, if you were to buy, say, the word search program at $100, and you were to buy the Dragon Naturally Speaking at I think it's around $100. It may be $69 or $70 or something like that. And if you were to be able to buy a lower program in the Logos, just to learn how to use it, you may could get it for $250, $300 at the most, I think. I was going to buy the silver or the bronze, I forget which one it was, and it was only like, $340 or something. So for almost $500 you can get some excellent tools that you can have for the rest of your life. Now you just have to, if you're a young pastor, I mean, you can go out to eat all the time, but if you're going to be studying for the rest of your life, this is a great way to maximize your time so that you can be much more effective in the study process. So once again, I hope this has been helpful to you. There are obviously other tools out there that I haven't mentioned, but I'll be glad to help you with any of them. Buy you another monitor, get you another monitor so that you can put these tools so they don't, kind of complicate your screen a little bit. You're going back and forth. You just have it right there for you. And what you don't know how to set up and what you don't know how to use, I will be glad to kind of help you and get you pointed in the right direction for all of that. So if you have any questions, you're more than free to write me, text me, call me. Call me something nice, but you can call me, and I will be more than happy to spend the time with you. I know that Dr. Ildefonso feels the same way that I do about this. He's out of the country more than I am, and he's very busy. He's filming things, but I'm confident that he would be just as willing to help you with some of these tools as I am. Dr. Brett Sullivan knows how to use Logos better than I do. Eddie knows how to use it better than I do. So there are a good number of professors. Dr. Bob Craven can help you with some of these as well. Most all of these men have the Dragon Naturally Speaking, the Word Search programs, the Logos program, so they can help you as well. So don't hesitate to ask any of us to help you. That's why we're here, and we care about you. We care about your education and academic progress, educational progress, your academic progress, and so please feel free to use us as a resource. Thank you.